Like the internet clown I am, I accidentally stumbled into some very interesting and strange discourse while joking about the Bowser and Luigi ship of all things. People were very offended that I put these two in S tier, and I thought, hey, that would make an interesting video if I broke down the ethics of shipping. And now somehow I've already offended somebody else on the opposite side of this brain rot.
Bruh.
The post read something about me promoting purity culture. Purity culture? Not that any of you need to know this, but I fuck, actually.
Nobody asked.
All us chill people can agree that fiction is fun and playful, but there are still lines that shouldn't be crossed unless you as the shipper want to be perceived as a predatory weirdo. Disgusting age gaps and familial relationships are at the top of that list. No, I don't care that you think Dipper and Mabel's glances at each other are cute. They are siblings. Socially distance yourself from me for forever, please and thank you. But that's not the subject of today's video.
Your video tipping the show. I do.
Why so serious, butt lovers?
Yeah. Check you stay.
Today we are exploring what it means to ship and suspend disbelief. I'm also going to try and figure out why some people are mad and some people aren't. First, we have to start with the ship that kicked off this whole silly discussion. First, let me give you the pros of Bowuigi, the cons of Bowuigi, and the weird overlappy part of the Venn diagram. Good ship, bad ship, and dipshit. I'm gonna spend a lot of time being a Bowser apologist because I just think he's a fun, silly guy. Unless Bowser is some sort of overgrown Koopa, we can assume that he is the only one of his species in the mushroom world. I find it interesting that Bowser, again, seemingly the only one of his species, is attracted to Peach, probably the only person that can relate, showing that this crush at least started from a place of good intention. I'm humanizing him a bit. It's not an excuse, it's an explanation. We have to acknowledge that Bowser's kind of fine. Who wrote that? That wasn't me. Bowser is, as this movie points out multiple times, very possessive and jealous. That's not a good quality. A line that Bowser said that I thought was really interesting is, pain is the best teacher. Now, this obviously wasn't said from a place of good intentions, which makes sense because he's the villain. They never tried to hide the fact that he's the villain. In this story, I will say, he's kind of right. I don't think Luigi should have been tortured. I will say, though, Baby Bird did have to leave the nest. All of Luigi's growth happened when Mario was not there to protect him. The growth came from 90% brotherly love. As you'll see in the dipshit section, I did point out that this is just Frozen, but instead of sisters, it's for brothers. Let it go! So 90% brotherly love, 10% Luigi leaving his comfort zone. We have to acknowledge that. He doesn't owe Bowser shit for this, by the way. I just think it's fascinating. He left this experience better than he started. If you think this little twirl wasn't charged, you're lying to yourself. I'm so sorry. They didn't have to make it look like this, but they did. It was a choice. As Bowser is interrogating Luigi about his brother, he asks, do princesses find him attractive? Luigi responds with, they do if they have good taste, and he tosses Luigi. That was rude. That was rude. Bowser, you asked him a question, you asked him to be honest, he was being honest. The fact that Bowser is eyeing Luigi and feeling threatened by the fact that Mario looks like him is Bowser acknowledging that Luigi is attractive. At the end of the movie, when Bowser really tries to get with Peach, he says, I'll be sacrificing them for you. We don't like that. However, with the tone of his voice, it's clear that he thinks he's doing like a romantic gesture. Dude's wires are crisscrossed. Luigi almost died. That was bad. He tries to destroy Mushroom Kingdom. That was bad, but I have to point out that he was unsuccessful in both, okay? I would take him more seriously if he was good at his job as a villain. He seems more like bumbling buffoon to me, and we're gonna get into that. In the middle section, I also put when he said, you ruined my wedding. I was finally going to be happy. Now you will suffer like me. Guy needs therapy. There's no other way to say it. Guy needs therapy. I do find it interesting that they sprinkled in these moments of, yeah, Bowser feels alone in the universe and was latching on to Peach because he didn't know what else to do. He acts like a villain because he's a villain, but why are we seeing a little bit of, dare I say, complexity? And the main point of this section, I think Bowser is a fun villain. You think think she likes me? Give me a break! I was not shitting my pants watching the Mario movie. I knew he was going to be unsuccessful. The stakes were not well done. They were medium rare. I knew he was going to fail. So I wasn't intimidated by him. I didn't take his villainy seriously. And that leads us to my next point. One thing I have to admit before I plead my case further is I hate to say it, besties, but as I was rewatching the Mario movie, I realized there were scenes I could have sworn were there that I just realized are fan fiction. Firstly, I thought Luigi overheard Bowser playing the piano, and now that I'm saying that out loud, obviously that wasn't in the fucking movie, that was fan fiction. Jesus. And in general, I thought these two just talked more. They really didn't after the interrogation. Placing them in S tier was solely because of the fan content that I consumed, that I now have to admit on the internet that I consumed, but are any of you really surprised? Now let's compare them to Beauty and the Beast, because for whatever reason, I love these two, yet hate the Beast. I think what it comes down to is Beauty and the Beast centers Beast's growth, while the Super Mario Bros. Center the brothers' growth. I can't emphasize enough that this is my personal opinion, and if you disagree, I don't care because it's fiction. We're allowed to be goofy over animated movies, you know? Anyway, I believe Beauty and the Beast perpetuates the whole mentality of I can fix him that some women today still believe. Tale as old as time, tale as old as time, tale as old as time. Bowser probably watched Beauty and the Beast and thought that would work on Peach, but it didn't. Yep, that's right. It's confirmed. Beauty and the Beast is responsible for all of Bowser's character flaws. So honestly, who's the real villain here? Pause. We're getting really silly. Perfect segue to my next point. I think what most of my villain ships boil down to is the silliness and cartooniness of the villain. When Bowser is raging about Peach not liking him back, it's funny to me. It's like when Gru from Despicable Me is freezing all of these people. If someone were to do that in real life, freezing people or yelling about the fact that a woman doesn't like them, it would be scary. It wouldn't be funny. But these dudes are just silly. Again, that's the vibe I get. Your watching experience could be very different. Why is Donkey Kong throwing these barrels at me? He's supposed to be our friend! I, for one, don't understand people that ship Deku and Bakugo. At the beginning of the series, when Bakugo tells Deku to jump off a building, that had no undertones of, ha ha ha, he's an asshole, but what a silly guy. What an enjoyable guy to watch throughout this series. I'm so glad he's a main character. No, to me, this guy stinks. He's stinky, but he wouldn't be if he had this video's sponsor, Scentbird. Scentbird is a monthly perfume subscription service available in the United States and Canada. Scentbird works with Gucci, Prada, and Versace and other indie labels. The monthly price is $17, and I am super obsessed with all the fragrances they sent me. Right now, I am wearing By the Sea, which is very citrusy. I smell delicious. I'm gonna show you the other two fragrances too, but first let me show you how it works. Right now, it's locked so that when you put it in your bag, it's not going anywhere. And it's so easy for when you want to put it on. This case also opens up magnetically, so it's refillable, and there is a lot of product in here. This will last me years. Now on to all the other gorgeous smells. Good Lord. Going out with friends, I decided to go with Joe Love's Pink Vetiver. My fiance described this one as an autumn day. Think the crunch of leaves. It had this depth to it. It was very sophisticated. And then when I was going to a comedy show with my family, I decided to go with Dead Cool's fragrance number 3. It was spicy. It had this steaminess to it. The comedian's jokes were spicy, but I was spicier. My favorite changes day by day. Right now, I am really feeling the citrus. I feel exquisite. Use code Athena for 55% off your first month at Scentbird. Using my promo code Athena, the first month is just a little over $7. Be sure to check out the links below. I cannot thank Scentbird enough for sponsoring this video. I am delighted to be their new biggest fan. I am absolutely obsessed with these fragrances, and I'm sure you will be too. Thank you so much to Scentbird. Now back to the video. Now back to more characters I find stinky. I discovered after my Trolls video that a lot of people love Creek. And I will give you this. I thought it was really funny that he acted like he was all spiritual and about enlightenment and about finding inner peace, when really he was a self-absorbed traitorous fuck. But the fanon presents him in almost a completely different light. Something I personally don't understand, and yet I love the Bowuigi fanon. The Bowuigi fanon is what got me into the ship, as I said, right after I watched the movie in 4D, not to flex. The 4D experience was so much fun. I felt like I was in Universal Studios. But yeah, the cosplays, the art, the stories, it made me see Bowser in a different light, and yet Creek confused confuses me. It helps that Bowser is presented as the big bad from the start. And it wasn't a total Hans if only there was someone out there who loved you betrayal moment. And don't get me started on Barb from Trolls 2, dude. Seeing the wreckage of the classical village. Like, she was actually way more successful in her plan than Bowser ever was. She was almost successful in wiping out every other genre of music. And yet at the end, she was just rocking out with all of them, zero consequences. Bowser didn't get that far, and he was put in a jar. Whoa. Okay, there are some freaks out there that are really gonna like that scene. But anyway, people still ship Barb with Poppy. The more I try and explain, the more I realize none of this makes sense. But back to the basics. The first time I watched the Mario movie, I was easily amused by it, I loved it, but I didn't take it super seriously. Which is why I was able to project these silly headcanons onto them. Maybe that's how people feel with Barb and Creek and Bakugo too. Who knows? I think we have to give the people that watched enough credit to assume that they can enjoy a ship without trying to embody these toxic elements in real life. Like, that isn't actually an ideal relationship that they would want, right? Well, I understand the appeal of reality TV, but it can quickly get really weird and parasocially. My guilty pleasure was MTV's Are You the One? One of my first videos on this channel that's now unlisted is a parody of it. It was rough. But anyway, one great thing about Are You the One is that it was also a game show. They had an objective to find their perfect match. This arbitrary pairing by some unseen matchmakers on the basis of who knows what. We never figure that out. Who wants to bet it was all fucking random? They filmed for 6 weeks and then that's it. As far as I know, not many people get attached to these relationships because so few people actually make it. Aside from Amber Lee and Ethan, Uche and Clinton, and Tomas and Callie. Those are the only people that I found that are still in relationships with each other that met on their season. This Us article really helped me, but they also listed people I couldn't confirm were still together in 2024. If that sounds creepy, it's because it is. This Us article also lists people that were on different seasons from each other, so they didn't meet on camera. And if it's not on camera, it doesn't count.
If it's not on camera, who cares?
All this to say, it didn't have much reach, unlike a show like, let's say, Jersey Shore. And when talking about scary shipping, there is no better or worse couple to bring up than Ronnie and Sammy. Bet you didn't think I was gonna talk about this when you clicked on this video with this fucking face. Anyway, these two were dating on screen, on and off, from 2009 to 2012. According to Wikipedia, they finally called it quits in 2016. So compare Are You the One's 6 weeks to 3 years on camera plus 4 years off camera. And yeah, this feels a little more real because it was. They would scream, he would break her stuff, she would be ostracized and shamed by the whole group. Don't know how I missed this, but she also punched him in the face. Jesus. All for people to watch at home and laugh. Unfortunately, it took me about 3 seconds of research on Tumblr and Twitter to find out that a lot of people actually really admired these two and thought this relationship was something to strive for. I'm not toxic, I'm not. It's just this was the couple I looked up to as a young adolescent. So this shows a level of self-awareness now that time has passed. We love to see that. This one, however, was posted to Bratzy Girls World. It was a comedic moment on Jersey Shore when Ronnie is apologizing for shaming her appearance. And she expresses to him that this is a personal issue, so while it may seem silly to us, this is a real person with real emotions. Let's look through these hashtags. Hashtag comedy, hashtag relatable, hashtag dogs, oh, like the toes, dude. Hashtag anti-bully, hashtag female rage. My generation didn't have Chris Sean and Blueface. We had them. I don't know who those two are. I guess we have even more to unpack. The quote tweet adds to this. Going back and rewatching this was actually so sad. Ronnie verbally and emotionally abused the hell out of Sammy day in and day out. More tweets, more tweets. Blueface and Christian again. That feels like a lot to unpack, but I will Google it right now because now I'm curious. It's called Crazy in Love. Is this like a reality thing though? In this documentary-style series, we will witness the complex ups, downs, and successes of their truly unorthodox and turbulent relationship. Okay. That seems like it would piss me right the fuck off. And I already have so much more to unpack in this video. So back on topic. I think this is very funny. I miss these kind of cute moments Ronnie and Sammy had on Jersey Shore. It was a quote tweet. The post is not available. Yeah, that sounds about right. Ronnie and Sammy equals too cute. That is from 2011. Ronnie and Sammy were so cute together, but so toxic. Ugh. 2020. From 2017, I used to think Jim and Pam were relationship goals, but the real goals are Ronnie and Sammy from Jersey Shore. I looked at the replies, it didn't seem like this person was joking. 2017. Sammy and Ronnie are low-key goals AF, and I'll fight anyone who disagrees. I'm having trouble reading the tone. I understand the ones from 2010, 2011. A lot of Jersey Shore's demographic were teens. This is a lot. Now listen, I believe most people don't actually think this way, but that's still way more people than I thought would take that stance. So when I said I ship Bowser and Luigi, did you guys think my actual couple goals was for me to be dangled above a pit of lava? Because no, it's not. Okay? I didn't think I would ever have to clarify that. Well, what is the difference between reality and fiction? With fiction, as I keep saying, the only difference between canon and fanon is that one is a part of the official story and it gets to more people's eyeballs, and one isn't and doesn't. But they are both fully made up, so you can believe whatever you want to about a fictional character, no matter how unfounded. I forget what is canon and what is fanon a lot of the time, because in my decrepit old age, I still enjoy fanfiction. I think Heather from Total Drama is a lesbian. I think all the members of Death Clock are in a polyamorous relationship, but you're not ready for that conversation. I can just make shit up about cartoons and you can't stop me. I cannot make shit up about real people, nor do I want to, obviously. When I was younger, I used to ship Sam and Freddie from iCarly, but I've come to disagree with younger Athena, and here's why. Freddie's abuse was being played for a laugh, so much so that I truly didn't realize how constant it was. I also didn't realize that I fell for a gender-swapped Beauty and the Beast dynamic. I used to love how this relationship softened Sam, but at the same time, that's not Freddie's responsibility, nor should it be. I also think this was confusing for child Athena, as I believe I had a crush on Nathan Kress as he got jacked throughout the series, and it was a sort of situation where watching him tame the absolute feral Sam did something for me. This video was a mistake, but it's too late to stop now. I will still give the ship credit where it's due. It explained Sam's cruelty. It wasn't an excuse, an explanation, okay? It also fleshed out exactly what the conflicting feelings were between these two that caused them to stay friends despite their constant butting of heads, and it evolved their relationship beyond just, oh, they're just both friends with Carly, so that's why they tolerate each other. I see now that Carly and Freddie are endgame based on the clips I've seen from the reboot, and I think they're cute. I accept it. I'm easily swayed, truly. But if you don't like Sam and Freddie, why do you ship Bowuigi? Oh, fuck!
So long, Bowser.
Think of it like this. Sam and Freddie are regular schmegular high schoolers. Beauty and the Beast had a weird power dynamic that didn't shift for any other reason other than love. Bowser and Luigi have a sort of supervillain and superhero dynamic. Here we go, I'm explaining my Bowuigi headcanons. The internet is forever, this is awesome. I imagine it like Luigi isn't there to fix Bowser. I imagine them having flirty banter during face-offs. And I imagine Mario just standing there like, Mamma mia, would you two just shut the fuck up? I think it's funny. I think it's playful. I think it's cute, okay? If Luigi is suffering from PTSD in the second movie, then I take this whole thing back. But I really don't think that's the direction they're going for. You know why? Because it's a fun, playful cartoon. Athena, you're shipping a human with a non-human. Oh my god! Have you guys ever heard of BoJack Horseman? In all honesty, there's no reason for there to be anthropomorphic animals, other than the fact that it separates their world from our world, and it creates funny hijinks in earlier seasons that makes the darker themes this series take on more approachable. If it didn't take on this cartoony style, I probably would have skipped out on it and missed one of the best pieces of television. That being said, there are sex scenes between anthropomorphic animals and humans, and we're just supposed to go with it. Yeah, it's uncomfortable for sure, but these creatures are actually human in every way other than appearance. They can talk, they're adults, they consent. It's a world different than ours. The more we try to apply our world's logic in every possible way to fiction, the more restraints we put on creative storytelling, and that's not a good thing. I actually talk about this in my Sermons That Hate Everything video.
She decides that she's going to rebel against her parents and embrace this demon.
Buddy, you know what symbolism is? When we have to confine our storytelling to fit the ideal Christian storyline, all movies would look like this. Hey mom, I want to go out with my friends. I told you no. Alright, I guess I'm not going. We need a way to be entertained, have a laugh, and even have nuanced conversations in a way where we don't get attached to real people, and the way we do this is through storytelling. Does this mean I agree with the themes of every fictional work solely based on the fact that it's fictional? No, obviously not. But some people are getting so nitpicky that it feels like the internet is turning into this great big gotcha moment that actually distracts from the actual issues that need our attention. This also isn't to say that you have to watch a piece of media that makes you uncomfortable. If you can't move past the interspecies relationship of Bojack, I don't blame you. You don't have to. But if you think because I like Diane and her buffalo husband that I would be fully supportive of a woman getting with a buffalo in real life, I'm just gonna say it, you're stupid. Sorry. This all ties back to the magic of suspending disbelief. I say this all the time, but what does it mean? Well, according to Google's Oxford Languages, suspending disbelief is to temporarily allow oneself to believe something that isn't true, especially in order to enjoy a work of fiction. That right there is the thesis of almost everything we talked about, which feels ironic coming from me. I realize that. Because don't I overanalyze media and ask questions that wouldn't be asked if I just suspended my disbelief? Yes, but I do this for fun. Most times caring is good. Make no mistake, if you're uncomfortable with something you see on the internet, you could and should warn your friends. Immediately after my Sophia the First video, I found some nauseating Twitter accounts. I didn't even want to delve into this because I feel like people who need this explained to them are beyond help, but age is one of the few things we cannot separate from our reality. Children are a vulnerable group that need to be protected. This is obvious. This is why I start off all my lore videos with the disclaimer that what I create and the audience I'm trying to cultivate is for adults. I remember being a kid and the internet was so new, and every time I tried to Google one of my favorite shows, I was quickly reminded of Rule 34. There needs to be spaces on the internet not accessible to children. When should kids have access to the internet, and how much monitoring is appropriate? These are good questions that come from a place of caring. Some care, however, I will say is misplaced. Adults can enjoy cartoons. Suggesting otherwise is very bizarre, controlling, and a waste of your energy. That's what I think the internet needs to be more conscientious of. Is this worth my energy? Are people unsafe? If I am engaging with something that disturbs me, would it be more productive for me to scroll, or for me to discuss, or for me to just report?
We need to acknowledge the elephant in the room.
Pro-shipping is defined as one who supports a ship or shipping deemed problematic. For example, incest, age differences, or abusive dynamics. I do not identify with that. The phrase abusive dynamics is pretty vague. I think that in that regard, people need to be aware of their own triggers instead of forcing them onto others. I do not take Bowser's abuse in the Mario movie seriously. But if you do, by all means, do what you need to do to protect your peace. You don't have to consume content that's about that. On the flip side, people who are pro-ship that I've seen are really fucking aggressive about it, which is a huge red flag on top of all the other red flags they possess. If someone is an anti, it means they don't want to engage in this kind of content. That is a boundary, and if you don't respect that, I think you've successfully earned the title of predator. People will argue, but it's fiction, but it's kink positive. But if you are so defensive about it to the point where you are pleading your case to someone who said multiple times that they want nothing to do with you or the content that you're putting out there, and they've made that abundantly clear, that's not fiction anymore. I didn't even want to get into this serious stuff, but the more research I did for this video, the more and more I realized I should make my stance abundantly clear. I don't want me joking about Bowser and Luigi to associate me with these people. No. I'm putting my foot down. No. I think I've said all that can be said. If this ends up going over really well or really badly, I shall post the inevitable sequel to this entitled In Defense of Squid Bob, where I will also create silly songs and reenact my fan fiction. Thanks so much again to Scentbird for sponsoring this video. Please be sure to check out the links below. I'm feeling in a vetiver kind of mood. Oh my god, spicy. Jake and the Neverland Pirates lore is the next video that's going up. That's probably going to be up in 2 weeks because I'm getting married on Sunday, by the way. Yeah, I'm going to casually drop that here. I really hope you enjoyed and have a great day, butt lovers. Bye!